Oh, so many.
Oh, I just had a glimpse there from.
It doesn't show
We're getting
everyone.
outer space.
Oh, Hare Krishna.
Mute. I heard just we first see by hearing. I heard some auspicious sound of Srila Bhakti Sudhir Goswami Maharaj.
Jai Srila Bhakti Ranjan Madhusudan Maharaj ki Jai.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Jai Srila Bhakti Sudhir Goswami Maharaj ki Jai. We've been searching for you, Maharaj, so we're very happy to find you, to have you with us now.
It was a loving search for the lost servant.
There's a loving search for our lost leader. Oh no, the leader can't be lost, can he? No, okay.
That's what Srila Guru Maharaj said. First, he gave the title for Search for Sri Krishna, Reality of the Beautiful. And all those things that says on the title page, he said to put them there, and including that verse about Krishna. And I have to say, it should say Sarvadbhuta Chamatkaram Lila Kala, but that was long, and at the time my typesetting skills were less, so I used the smaller version. There's another verse that's very similar to that, but Venu, but Guru Maharaj did say Sarvadbhuta Chamatkaram, this, the four qualities that distinguish Krishna from anyone else. And I'd like to see Madhusudan Maharaj on the screen, if possible. And so, first book, Search for Sri Krishna, Reality of the Beautiful. And before presenting that to Srila Guru Maharaj, I printed 2 chapters, just because I saw it appearing before me on the layout, and and I was very excited to see it. It's like it was appearing before me, and I saw what it's going to look like. So I was very excited, and showed Mahayogi, and so we printed 2 chapters. Is that from us? Why it has to start now? All right. So anyway, I printed these 2 chapters, and brought them for Srila Guru Maharaj and Srila Gurudev, and they were very happy and said, yes, go ahead and print the book. But they were so popular, immediately whatever we had sold out. So we went back to the printers to tell them to print some more. It was like what you call a mom, pop business, and they gave us the plates and all the stuff for printing the books, and they said, we're sorry, we can't do that. I mean, that's what every printer wants, is someone who keeps reprinting over and over again. And I said, well, why? And they said, we read it. And they were like Christians. And so they said, we read it, and we cannot in good faith do this. We're sorry, so we're giving it to you. And I went out in the car and I said to Brahma, they won't reprint it. And that's when we realized how powerful it was, that just by reading that beginning where he said, Atato Jigyasa, Atato Brahma Jigyasa, that is a dry thing. He said, now Krishnanusandhan, we should begin the search for Sri Krishna, the search for rasa, not just inquiry about spirit. It's time to inquire about Krishna, who is capable of satisfying, every atom of our soul's hankering. So that book was there. Then I thought, let's Everyone wants to know about Guru. There's so many questions about Guru. Who is qualified and disciple, and all the questions that run through people's minds in search for Sri Guru. And even if they've already connected, they have so many things they're trying to understand. And so I thought, I'm going to collect everything Guru Maharaj said about Guru and put it in a book, and then we'll publish that. And Guru Maharaj said again, that's a good idea. And then it was time for the title, and I liked Guru Heavier Than the Himalayas, or as Sandeep would say, Himalaya, the Himalaya, you know. So when I said that, which comes from Guru Maharaj, because when I was a teenager reading Bhagavad Gita, in the chapter where Krishna says, of this, I'm that, of aquatic creatures, I'm, Makara, and I thought, and I would try and guess what he's going to say next. And when Krishna comes to say, of mountains, I thought, he's going to say Himalayas. And he says, of mountains, I'm Sumeru. And I was like, what is Sumeru? And then he said, of immovable objects, I'm the Himalayas. And then so many, what does that mean? Right? We read Bhagavad Gita and other things and faithfully, and we should, and it's not required to understand. We're approaching the infinite. How can you understand everything? So, and Guru Maharaj said he discovered that Vedic aphorism as a child. What was it? Anyway, I'll think of it. But so, immovable. So Guru Maharaj said, Guru means heavy, like the word for Shisha, disciple, is Lagu, light. So who is light needs to connect with Guru. So he's not blown around with the winds of prevailing misconceptions. He's tethered to the lotus feet of Sri Guru, sometimes by the Sika. Tie your Sika to the lotus feet of Sri Guru, and then you may be blown this way and that way. But Guru is heavier than the Himalayas. How heavy? Heavier than the Himalayas, Guru Maharaj said. So I like that title, and I thought, if I saw a book in a bookstore on the shelf, and it said, Guru, heavier than the Himalayas, I'd have to pick it up and look at it. It would pique my curiosity. So that was my suggestion. But as soon as I said that, even though it comes from Guru Maharaj, he said, that is a partial conception, And when I said, well, then what should be the title? Or what should be the full conception of, and he said, Sri Guru and his grace. And he said, also, I've written one article from the Gaudiya Math time, and Gurudev then said, it's the code name Gurudev used for the article. It's called Sri Guru and His Grace, but Gurudev always calls that article, to err is human, because that's the first line. So when Guru Maharaj said that, Gurudev goes, oh, to err is human, And then they showed me that article, and that became the introduction for Sri Guru and His Grace. And it is the most rational argument for accepting for a guru, for understanding the necessity of a guru. To err is human, to err is inevitable for all, being not perfect. Still, there is an element within us that seeks perfection. But that can only come from the perfect. The perfect can reveal himself to the imperfect. And it's very beautiful. It doesn't sound religious. It doesn't use any Sanskrit words. It's just an ascent. I mean, it's totally spiritual, but it appears to be a purely rational argument for the necessity of accepting a guru. And then we made that book. So third book, we're thinking, oh, Mahaprabhu, right? So we make, and Guru Maharaj starts revealing golden volcano of divine love. Sometimes devotees might think like, because Guru Maharaj published the Prapana Jivanamritam in 1941. So they kind of think like, well, that's what he published and anything happened after that? Yes, continuously. Sometimes Srila Guru Maharaj would turn to me and say, excited with like childlike wonder, and say to me very excited, like, come here, Maharaj, this just came to me 2 days ago. Right? He's saying that, in 1985. This just came to me 2 days ago. Like, you got to hear this. So Guru Maharaj, it's not that his realization, was complete in 1941, and after that he was just repeating what he had understood up to that point. No, that is glorious, but continuously revealing things. So Prema Dhamma Deva Stotram, it started, Gurudev said, I thought it would be a Panchakam, because Guru Maharaj made like 5 verses. He said, then he did another 3. He said, oh, then I thought it will be an Astakam. He wrote some more. Then a Dasakam. Then a Dwadasakam, 12. He said, but Guru Maharaj just kept going and going, more and more, mining more and more divine substance, until at last it became what, 70, 72 slokas, and the full representation of Sri Chaitanya Charitamritam. So, and so the books we're publishing of His Divine Grace, they also have a structure to them. They're not random collections. Guru Maharaj said the duty of Vyas, he said, to compile and to structure. Samas and Vyas. Samas means to compile, to gather together, and Vyas means to give it structure. So then we presented Sri Guru and His Grace. And Guru Maharaj was very happy. Oh, and I was going to say, and so he did Prema Dhamma Deva Stotram, and his Gayatri explanation, which is unparalleled, right? Not just in modern times, since the Gayatri mantra came out of the mouth of Brahma after the flute entered the 8 ear holes of Brahma. Like that. You understand? This is unique, original wealth that is incomparable. And when someone would want to understand the difference between Sri Chaitanya Saraswati Mat and any other institution, this is how Guru Maharaj himself chose to express the difference. If you can follow, Gayatri Muralista Kirtana Dhanam Radha Padam Dhimai, to extract Radha Dasyam from the Gayatri Mantram, right? In line with the, Artoyam Brahmasutranam Bharatartha Binirnaya, Gayatri Bhasyarupo Sho Vedartha Paribringhita. That Srimad Bhagavatam is the Artoyam Brahma, it's the, reveals the meaning of the Brahma Sutra. It's what you should get from the Mahabharata, Artha Brahma Sutranam, Bharatartha Vinirana, Gayatri, and the Gayatri. And what is the Bhagavatam? As we were at Radha Kunda yesterday, and we went to the Visram Ghat, and then everyone got sleepy because it's the Visram Tal. So now we're all awake again after our rest. And so what is it telling us? The Yadamiya Mahima Sri Bhagavatyam Katayam Pratipadam Anubhutam Upyalab Davideya Tadakila Rasamurti Shamalila Avalambam Madhura Rasadi Sri Radha Padmam Prapadye. Guru said, although ostensibly her name is not mentioned, at every step of the way, every sloka, every pastime is taking you in one direction, the service of her holy lotus feet. So he's showing that the Bhagavatam's the meaning of all these other things. It's the commentary on Vedanta. It's the real thing that is to be got and understood from Mahabharata and from all the Vedas. What is that? Ultimately, about the, not only that Krishna conception, the form, Guru Maharaj said, the form of love of Krishna, the form of Krishna Prem is Srimati Radharani. And our aspiration is to attain the service of her holy lotus feet under the guidance of the Rupa Nuga line, which Narottam will tell us about, and under his surrogates and representatives. But Krishna connection through her. And it's not anything less, but we're told you don't get any greater quality or quantity of Krishna than through the connection of Srimati Radharani. Think about it. A tiny finite jiva soul, right? Keshagra, Shatabhaga, 1/10,000th the tip of a hair, right? Is going to interact with the infinite. And that's a wonderful thing. And we're told, if even a drop of Krishna Bhakti is in the heart of that soul, that Krishna finds that irresistible and he's drawn in love and affection to reciprocate that devotion. But as Guru Maharaj told yesterday, what is the voltage of the current of devotion of Srimati Radharani? So we have a capacity, even if we go directly to Krishna, what would be your exchange possibility? It would be a drop of the infinite is infinite. We would be overwhelmed, but our capacity for reciprocation is limited by our constitutional position. Whereas Srimati Radharani is Krishna's equal. And as we like to say, the better half of the sweet absolute. Krishna's Rasaraj, she's Mahabhav, she can extract all the nectar from Rasaraj Krishna, and then out of gratitude to her servitors, distribute that to them. So in one sense, it is truly selfless, the Rupa Nuga line, but from an analytical point of view, it's an incredible strategy, because you see, they realize by promoting her, they're going to get something that's millions, 10 million times infinitely greater than what they can achieve through direct contact with Krishna, right? So the Bhagavatam, Kimba Bhagavata Dharma na prayena nirupita tadeva paramahansanam priya paramahansanam tadeva hyachuta priya. Achuta priya really means Srimati Radharani, right? And the Bhagavatam, so it's taking us there and we talked about Radha Kunda. When we were there at our Govardhan Ashram and the Dvaita Das Seva Kund with Srila Gurudev, there's some people, as we told yesterday, reading Upadeshamritam and fast forwarding to bathing in the waters of Radha Kunda, thinking that will give them Krishna Prem. And Saraswati Thakur say, it's not ordinary water. Guru Maharaj saying, Radharani in liquid form, and it's the waters of self-sacrifice. But for those who like to make an ostentatious display of achievement and voyeuristically envision themselves as super servitors, as opposed to substantial devotees like Uddhava, he is the highest devotee in Dwarka, and what's his aspiration? A blade of grass in Vrindavan. Whereas those newly recruited to Krishna consciousness are voyeuristically envisioning themselves as super servitors, right? So that's the opposite of pure devotion. The real devotion is revealed in we see the greatest magnitude of eagerness and appreciation expressed toward the least aspect. Right? This is something that's thematically consistent. So you see, Uddhava, highest servitor in Dwarka, aspiring for Shanta Rasa in Vrindavan. That's a realistic aspiration. Even Mahaprabhu in Shikshastakam, you know, the Ainanda Tanuja Kinkaram Patitamam Vishame Bhuvam Budho Kripaya Tavapada Pankajastita Duli Sadrasham Vichintaya. Prabhupada used to like to say, fix me as as the atoms of dust at your holy lotus feet. That's the proper aspiration. The greatest amount of eagerness, the respect and appreciation for the least connection. So search for Sri Krishna, Sri Guru and His grace. We thought, search for Sri Krishna, like Krishna going to Mahaprabhu, Sri Guru and His grace, Radharani. And how great is she? Krishna Karnamritam, we told Krishna nectar for the ear, almost 300 slokas in praise of Krishna, and Mahaprabhu in the mood of Radharani, loving to hear that from Swarup Damodar and Ramananda, like the verse Gurudev likes so much. What is it? What is it? Nasagre Namuktikam Venam Kare Kantanam Sarvanga Hari Chandanam Kante Chamuktavalim Gopa Stri Pariveshito Vijayate Gopala Chudamani. He liked this verse. I just forget the first line right now. But Yasya, no, that's another one. Anyway, talking about the beauty of Krishna and how he's Kostubam, wearing the Kostuba jewel, and Nashagre Navamoktikam, he's got a pearl ring around his nose, Venam Kore Kankanam, when he's playing the flute, his fingers, I need that spray, his fingers look so beautiful, like devotees, they marvel at how Krishna, his fingers look so beautiful when he plays the flute, right? Venam Kare Kankana, Sarvanga Hari Chandanam, his whole body covered in Chandam, Sarvanga Hari Chandanam, to Kante Chamuktavalim, wearing a necklace of pearls or muktas. Mukta means pearls, can also mean liberated souls. You know, Gopa Stri Pariveshito Vijayate Gopala Chudamani. Gurudev always emphasizing the Gopala Chudamani, like he was chewing on some sort of nectarine substance, right? That was very tasteful to him. And so that last line said, so that Krishna, who's so beautiful, when he is surrounded by the Braja Gopis, then Gopala, he's the crest jewel. The gopis are like so many jewels around, and he's the crest jewel, right? Gopastri Pariveshito means when he's surrounded by the gopis. So that Krishna Karnamritam has so many verses about the sweetness of Krishna. Madhuram, Madhuram, Madhurasya Vibho, Vadanam, Vadanam, Madhu, Madhugandhi Mridu Smitame Tadaho, Madhuram, 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 Madhuram. Saying, Krishna, he's so sweet. And if you look at him, you see that his face, Vadanam, is even sweeter, right? So he's sweet altogether, but his face has some extra special sweetness. And then we're told, if you see a smile from that face, it's even sweeter still. Madhugandhi Mridu, his aroma is inconceivably enchanting, etc. And the softness of Krishna, but when he smiles, the moon-like face of Krishna looks even sweeter. So what does he conclude? Sweet, 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 sweet. He's using this word madhuram repeatedly. And these are the slokas, some of the slokas from Karnamritam that Mahaprabhu in the mood of Radharani behind closed doors in the Gangbira, Swarup Damodar is singing Ramananda, and it's giving him so much happiness. But Prabodhananda Saraswati Thakur, who's Astasaki Tunga Vidya, he writes a parallel that is all in praise of Radharani, called the Radha Rasa Shuddha Nidhi. So Bilva Mangal, almost 300 slokas for Krishna. And what is the response of Astasaki Tunga Vidya? 300 for Radharani. And what's very beautiful, and we'll get there later, but is that, and so it's a book all of praise of Radharani. So what do you think the first verse would be? Nindam, as Babaji Maharaj would go, Nindantam pulakot karena vikasam nipa prasunachchavim prodikritva bhujadvayam hari hari itu chaiva dantam muhu nrityantam drutamasru nirjarachaye sinchantam urvitalam Gayantam nija parasadai parivratam Sri Gaura Chandram Numa. So it's all about Radharani. What's the first verse? Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So the Sahajiyas who show newer and newer ways of being wrong, right? They say, oh, why is this book about Radharani have this verse of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? They must have the Gaudiyas must have put that in there later. Missing the whole point, right? Radha Bhava Duti Subalita. Who is that Mahaprabhu? And that verse on this painting on the veranda of Srila Gurudev in Calcutta that Madhusudan Maharaj and Bhakti Lalita and many others know very well. It shows the Pancha Tattva and Kirtan, and Gurudev said this verse, Nindantam Pulakot Kore, that talks about that the ecstatic eruptions on the divine form of Mahaprabhu, like Nipa flowers, type of Kadamba, and the Sinchantam Urvita, tears pour from his eyes, moistening the ground, surrounded by Hari Hari It Uchaiva Dantam Muhu. Just think, that flute player Krishna, now his being conquered by the devotion of Radharani, his arms are cast in the sky, he's singing and dancing, relishing the holy name of Krishna. So in that book, the very first verse is glorifying Mahaprabhu, being enveloped by the heart and halo of Radharani. Then he's saying how great Radharani is. Just like Suk and Sari, those two parrots who landed on the fingers of Mahaprabhu in Vrindavan, and Suk, the male parrot, saying how Madan Mohan Krishna, he's so, Kandar Pakoti Kamani, he's so beautiful that 10 million cupids personified as one. And Cupid would be bewildered to see the unparalleled, inconceivable beauty of Krishna. And then the female parrot, Sari, says, yes, he's Madan Mohan, but Radharani is Madan Mohan Mohini. He's only looking that beautiful when she's by his side. And although he's bewildering Cupid, when he looks at Radharani, he becomes bewildered. And they go back and forth. But Radharani always wins. That we have to remember. She always wins. Right? So in this book, Prabodhananda Saraswati, demonstrating this principle that the greatest eagerness for the least connection, we're normally observing that in the devotees toward Krishna. But what he's doing in his book, he's showing the kind of devotion that Krishna has for Radharani. the least aspect of her, right? That reveals the greatest love and affection. So he says, Yasya kadapi vachananjala lanota danyati danya pavanena kritartamani yogendram durgamagati madhusudanopi tasya namostu brishabhanu bibodhi shepi. He's saying that Krishna, who is sought after by the Yogendra, means the king. Like we said, Indra means king the other day. Yogendra means the king of the yogis. So the best yogis, Durgam, Yogendram, Durgam Agati, very rarely, if they're just the top, the best, they may have a glimpse of the Paramatma. And that will be such a wonderful achievement. He's saying, but that Madhusudan, that Krishna, and that they consider their good fortune, that rare achievement. But he said, but Krishna, he considers when Radharani is moving in the plane of service in Vrindavan, if from her skirt, some of the wind, right, the breeze from the dress of Radharani comes upon Krishna, the breeze, Krishna thinks he's inconceivably fortunate, that he's achieved the most inconceivably valuable treasure in the breeze that comes from her dress. Think about that. That betrays the depth of love and affection and its substance. Then, in other words, what to speak of other things, right? So then what does he conclude? Prabodhananda Saraswati Thakur. Therefore, I'll be one of them in that plane making these No, not at all. Because he's a proper, as Asta Saki Tunga Vidya, he should know how to approach that plane. So he's saying, in consideration of this, then tasya namostu brishabhanu vibodhi shepi. Then for myself, I consider the direction in which she appeared to be worshipable. That's the appropriate distance for me. The direction is worshipable to me. Let me think, well, that's what could be, in a sense, a lesser connection. So again, the greatest eagerness and magnitude of eagerness for the least connection reveals substantial devotion. Right? So Gurudev told, when we were there in Govardhan, again, so those who make light of these things or a casual approach or think that it's easily achieved, he said, and you know where his room is there in Govardhan, and when you come, like, so it's an L shape, right? You come down the hall and then go this way. So there's a little wall there before you actually go into where Srila Gurudev is. And he said, lines from these 3 verses can be put there. And what are they? Because Vedeshu durlabam adurlabam atma bhakto, that rarely achieved by Veda, Jai Srila Gurudev, Srila Bhakti Sundar Govindadev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. A rare, but achievable through devotion. So it says Vedeshu durlabam, means very rare. Then the line from the end of the Brahma Samhita, Kati Chara Kati Paye, what is that? Chitti Birala. It said, after it describes the Chintamani world and the Govindam slokas and the Sriya Kanta Kanta Parama Purusha Kalpatoravo, that world where Kataganam Nattigamanam Pi Bangshi Priyasaki, where all movement is dance, all speech is song. And saying, so very few souls achieve that plane. And then the last one from Upadeshamritam, the line that says, Yat Prestamalam Apyasulabam Kim Punar Bhakti Bhajam. Those waters of Radha Kunda that everyone is so eager to immerse themselves in. It says, read that verse carefully. Rupa Goswami says, this is to go into those waters is a rare achievement for the Parama Presta Sakis. That means the 8 of Srimati Radharani. For that group, it is a rare achievement for them to enter those waters. And then it says, Kim Punar Bhakti Bhajam, means what to speak of others. Right? And incidentally, on this Brajamandal Parikrama, so when Srila Saraswati Thakur, he's going with his devotees, Srila Guru Maharaj, Srila Swami Maharaj Prabhupada, and Bhakti Dvaita Madhav Maharaj, Ban Maharaj, Jajavar Maharaj. Imagine that kirtan party. Bhakti Vilas Tirtha Maharaj, and Goswami Maharaj, and so many Gaudiya luminaries. So like we see some, of course, this cannot happen with Madhusudan Maharaj. He's always going barefoot. Right? So you can't collect his shoes for him because he doesn't have shoes. Maybe we can take up a collection later. But anyway, but Saraswati Thakur wore some shoes. And like we see sometimes the devotees for their Gurudev or some Maharaj, they like to go get those shoes and then hold. So when he comes out of the place where they had the Hari Katha, his shoes will be waiting for him. They won't be mixed with everybody else's shoes, that kind of thing. And Guru Maharaj, so Srila Guru Maharaj, he's that type of devotee also for his Gurudev. So Saraswati Thakur comes out and Guru Maharaj is holding his, chappals, as they would say, his shoes. And this is very wonderful. Guru Maharaj said, Saraswati Thakur turned to him and said, give them to me. Like, give them to me. And Guru Maharaj said, this was Katha Ganam Natya Gamanam, the movement of his hand and the gesture. And when he spoke, give them to me, it was a song. And he said that it descended from that plane where all movement is dance and all speech is song. And Guru Maharaj said this simple interaction with him was the sweetest thing that he'd ever heard. And he was transported to another plane just by Saraswati Thakur saying, please give them to me. So, I mean, it reveals something, many things, but also Guru Maharaj, what plane does Guru Maharaj reside in that he extracts and mines on this level? So anyway, that the Sri Guru and His Grace, we presented in the Golden Volcano, we mentioned a little bit of that. Then, so after those 3 books, and that's when Gurudev told Guru Maharaj, he said, I see them as deities. So, he would say, so we thought, all right, then search for Sri Krishna, like Krishna, Sri Guru and His Grace, Guru, Radharani, Golden Volcano, Mahaprabhu. And so to make the next book, I asked Srila Guru Maharaj, what should be the title? And he said, in the first book, we are given Search for Sri Krishna, Reality the Beautiful. He said, so we're showing about the search for Sri Krishna, and we concluded, as I said, it has a structure to it. In the end, you have Krishna searching for himself as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Atma Lila Savasita Purna Lokir Purna Sokya Lakshanam. As he told me in the afternoon at the Mat one day, he said, I say the ultimate reality is dancing. What do you say? That's like as I came in and sat at his lotus feet, and I didn't know what to say. I'd never heard that expression. And Guru Maharaj was like delighted with and tapping on his plantation chair. I say the ultimate reality is dancing. What do you say? And he's referring to Mahaprabhu, that what he's tasting, the happiness is uncontainable. It's so great that it's causing ecstatic expression and the lifting of his arms and ecstatic dancing. And in this process, he's distributing to others. So he said, in that book, we've shown the search for Sri Krishna. He said, but as the devotees are searching for their Lord, in the next book, we shall show that with equal, if not greater eagerness, Krishna is searching for his devotees, for his lost servants. And then he would say, but it is a loving search. Right? So he's saying it's a search for the lost servant, but it is a loving search. It is a loving search for the lost servant. Hare Krishna. That was a long introduction, but, but Hare Krishna. But we know, Maharaj, that today is the disappearance of Srila Narottam DasThakur. Right? So regardless of where we are on the parikrama, we can proceed to Gokulananda, or what would you prefer?
Maharaj, we have all arrangements made already. So we've been hearing your introduction at the Srila Swami Seva Ashram in Govardhan.
Yes.
And Maharaj, we've got arrangements of buses to take us there, but they're at Kushum Sarovar. So we just need to go to Kushum Sarovar, Maharaj.
We must collect some flowers there.
We may do that, Maharaj, yes. So, first of all, Maharaj, I know it's very belated, but to your divine grace and to all of the devotees present, first of all, our obeisances, Maharaj, and everyone's and all glories to Srila Gurudev, Srila Bhakti Santa Govinda Maharaj ki jai. All glories to Srila Guru Maharaj, Srila Bhakti Raksak Sridhar Maharaj ki jai. And to all Sri-Rupa-Manjari-pada Guru Vaga. So Maharaj, you've actually given the whole auspicious invocation.
Yes.
Very beautiful. So Maharaj, if with your permission, the devotees there in Chiang Mai, they can chant just 2 Panchatattva Mahamantra, 2 Mahamantras, and we'll arrive at Kushum Sarovar. And Kushum Sarovar is so near to our temple.
Yes.
When we chant japa, it's only 2.5 rounds of japa from our temple to Kushum Sarovar. So 2 Hare Krishna Mahamantras is good for us.
All right. Hare Krishna.
Hari Bol. Now we're walking.
Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda. Shri
All right, wonderful. So we've magically come to Kushum Sarovar, and just for a quick stop on our way through
Kusum Sarovar roll while he's speaking. We have some Kusum Sarovar footage by Devendra Prabhu. While you're speaking, it'll be shown on the screen.
All right, Maharaj. And just, of course, very briefly, but we're on our way, in our mystic way that we are doing this year, coming to Kushum Sarovar, where we can park the buses with only a small tip for the people nearby. And while we're here, this Kushum Sarovar, it is recorded from ancient scripture from the Puranas about its existence, remember Mahaprabhu did this parikrama of Govardhan Hill with great joy. He bathed here in ecstasy, and this is one of the beautiful lakes, which is very nicely maintained now with uh, the buildings that you see which are around. So a very beautiful place for the devotees to come to, and also a place of Uddhava and Kushum Sarovar, the flowers surrounding the lake here, and very sweet place for us between our temple and Radha Kund. And as you mentioned yesterday, Maharaj, actually how Guru Maharaj envisaged and told to Srila Govinda Maharaj where our temple will be in Govardhan, which will be near the Parikram path, near Govardhan. And each day we'll go pick flowers at Kushum Sarovar, take them to Radha Kund, give them to the senior devotees, the ladies there who are making the garlands, and then we return. From that seva, we return to the safety of our ashram. So this is Kushum Sarovar, very beautiful place. Again, Mahaprabhu's pastimes, Krishna's pastimes, the Radha Krishna's pastimes. And from here, Maharaj, we take some water on our head. We've actually today sat beside our mini Sarovar here, a little lake here. And Keshavananda is going to symbolically go down. There we are, Keshavananda symbolically going and symbolically getting some water, which he's probably going to soak us with on your behalf in remembrance of, okay, I'll take my hat off. It's cold.
No, it's cold where they are.
Well, this year the Kartik parikramas are a little late because of the extra month of Purushottam. So a little
I can't
chilly.
wait to sprinkle some water from Govinda Kunda on me.
All right, Maharaj. So we'll now board the buses, and with 2 more Maha mantras, we'll come not only to Vrindavan, we'll come to Vrindavan and then directly to the Radha Gokulananda Temple of where the Pushpa Samadhi is of Sri Narottam DasThakur. So maybe the devotees I can kindly chant 2 Maha mantras and we'll take the bus mystically to Vrindavan.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. What is that? Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
All right, Maharaj.
Everybody wants Krishna connection.
Yes, just see. So, Maharaj, we've arrived to Vrindavan, the Vrindavan village part of the Vrindavan Parikrama. And we've come here for the day, I think. And we've come here and we've got down from the buses and we've had to walk and chant, as we just did. And we arrive in front of the Radharaman temple, but continue straight down to just 100 meters, 103 meters perhaps, to the Radha Gokulananda temple. Maharaj will come inside and we will come into the left, give our obeisances at Srila Narottam DasThakur's Pushpa Samadhi, but the main Pushpa Samadhi there is at Sri Lokanath Goswami. Narottam DasThakur's Gurudev, as we will hear from Srila Goswami Maharaj just now. And we are coming here. We'll maybe do 1 parikrama and then be seated on the carpets that they lay out. And Maharaj will come to your holiness and request humbly that you can share something, some nourishment for our ears of the pastimes of Srila Narottam DasThakur.
Hare Krishna. Yes, Maharaj. Hare Krishna. So, as Maharaj said, mentioned the Gurudev of Lokanath Goswami, of Narottam Thakur, is Lokanath Goswami. And just briefly, we hear, just as we've heard about Mahaprabhu, that sometimes inexplicably, mysteriously, he's crying out, Bap, Pundarik, Bap, Pundarik means father, Pundarik, father. And the devotees were wondering, why is he saying this? And they're saying Pundari Kaksha, that is a name of Vishnu, because Pundari, lotus eyes, but what he was saying, he was crying out for Pundarik Vidyanidhi. And why saying father? He's in the mood, heart and halo of Radharani. Vrishabhanu Maharaj, the father of Srimati Radharani, he appears in Gaur Leela as Pundarik Vidyanidhi. So therefore, father, Pundarik. But in a similar way, mysteriously, sometimes Mahaprabhu is saying, Narottam, Narottam, Narottam. He's calling out for this Narottam. Someone named Narottam, or Narottam means the best, the ultimate person, Nara Uttama. And so it's because Narottam Thakur appears just after Mahaprabhu. So it shows he's so dear to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that in Mahaprabhu's manifest pastimes here, his heart is crying out for the association of Narottam Thakur. And we can't really fathom or imagine that for such devotees, we see how much love and affection the Lord and his devotees have for one another. And even the momentary separation, or Mahaprabhu's in Puri, Sachimat and others, they have to live in Navadvip and live a life, Vishnu Priya, live a life of separation, get some news once a year, or Shivananda Sen will take 200 Maha Bhagavata devotees from Navadvip to Rath Yatra for the annual festival. Then they return. It's heartbreaking departure scenes that Kaviraj Goswami sometimes will say would melt stones, or how pathetic they are at the time they have to leave. Like, I can't describe it. It's too disturbing. So for that quality of devotee, and Narottam in one sense is unparalleled. Two, we hear, oh, Mahaprabhu was here 500 years ago. Imagine someone like that, they appear in this world and hear that Sri Chaitanya Dev was here 5 years ago or 10 years ago. It's even more heartbreaking, and like that you just missed it. So their hearts are devastated with separation, but we know from Kaviraj Goswami, Bahire, what is it? Krishna Prema Adbhuta Charit, that the separation, the depth of heart that is achieved in separation, it yields a superior type of Krishna Prema than what is achieved in union. So that Narottam Thakur, since he's a boy, he's mad for Gauranga, right? And we can see that in his songs. And Gauranga means Radha Govinda. Really. Jai Shilabhakti Bimlavadut Maharaj. So he wants so much to go to Vrindavan and be with the Vaishnavas and undergo this sort of divine remembrance. And his family, they're so devastated. They know that it's impossible to stop him. And he goes to Vrindavan. And Guru Maharaj will say, and interestingly, he doesn't go to Rupa or Sanatan, but he goes to Lokanath Goswami, who is a Parshada Bhakta of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, means an eternal associate. So it's interesting there that he doesn't go direct to Rupa and Sanatan, he goes to Lokanath Goswami. But we're told the nature of Lokanath Goswami, this type of abject renunciation, Babaji, like, have nothing to do with this world. And sometimes I would wonder, like, then why even be here? Or we'd say, what are they doing? Are they just counting so many rounds every day and thinking about things? Right? No, they are mining spiritual stuff. They're not thinking about the spiritual world. They're participating in Leela there. Guru Maharaj said their bhajan is direct seva. They're serving in the upper world. And to have such a person in this world, just for them to exist here, is beneficial for everyone. So yes, you may not be able to interact with them. They're so, as the Bhagavatam says, the Mahabhagavatam, as a drunkard, the classic caricature or stereotype of a drunkard is their coat is half on and half off, or they're naked. So it says the pure, this is in the third canto, the pure devotees of this order, they're unaware if their body is on or off. Their external cover, like dress, garment, they're unaware of whether it's on them or not. That's why Bhaktivinoda Thakur's attendant, Krishnadas, in the final days, if someone was coming, he would pick up a cloth and drape it over Bhaktivinoda Thakur, because he was without, Digambara. He was dressed in the 10 directions. All right. So this Lokanath Goswami, he's that type, right? But if someone's qualified, he may interact with them. But who is qualified on that level? And we're told so much so, we know they have the kamandalu, the water pot, like you see the Buddhist monks too. They have like that bowl, begging bowl, and so there's water. Normally they keep some water in there. Lokanath Goswami has his turned upside down so that someone won't even accidentally say, have you got any water? Because that would cause him to have some interaction with someone and take him away. Again, it's like when Shiva apparently ignored Daksha, and he was all upset, like, why are you not showing some respect for me? And Shiva said, it's not that I'm disrespecting you, Sattvam Vishuddham Vasudeva Shabditam, but I'm so, riveted to Krishna and Krishna conception that I was unaware that you were here. So forgive me, I didn't purposefully ignore you and insult you. I just can't withdraw my consciousness from that plane, as we find it difficult to withdraw our consciousness from this world and have a moment of, Krishna conception. It's the inverse for such devotees. They may be unable to withdraw their consciousness from that plane and interact with anyone here. So Lokanath Das Goswami, he's of that type. And not only does he keep the loda upside down for no water, but he's not accepting any disciples either. Yeah. And it's interesting to see, Gorkishore Babaji Maharaj is also similar type, right? One disciple, Saraswati Thakur. So Lokanath Goswami, but Narottam is set on being accepted as a disciple of Lokanath Goswami. And what did we say before? If you show the greatest magnitude of eagerness for the least aspect of seva, reveals true devotion. So what is the least? These saints who live in the Vrindavan forest, remember, and it's not developed then as it is now. We go there and see all these memorials commemorating these divine places discovered by the Goswamis. At the time, it's a kunja, it's trees, beautiful trees, like the Kadamba tree and what are the other ones? Tamal tree, Bakul, and but really they're living in the forest practically. So for answering the calls of nature, they go into a particular part of the forest and then return to their place of bhajan. And to this day, even in Radha Kunda, those things have to be done away not within they have a law, it cannot be within a certain distance of Radha and Shyamakunda, right? So there's some place where Lokanath goes every day. So that's Narottam's target, right? So we talked about the least aspect, least connection. Ishwara Puri was so much glorified for rendering this type of seva to Madhavendra Puri in his final days, cleansing his divine form and happily and considering an honor to be given such seva opportunity. It says, Swahaste marjan, cleansing with his own hand. And I remember, and that's like why Ishwara Puri is indicated. And I saw also, and Srila Gurudev's final time, Srila Bhakti Kusum Ashram Maharaj performing this type of seva for Srila Gurudev. So I just said those 3 words to Gurudev once. So I was sitting, he's on his bed, and this is near the very end. I said, Swahaste Marjan. And he, of course, knows what that means. And he said, you are pure Rupanuga. Like to say, like to observe that about what the Seva Ashram Maharaj is doing. I just said, Swahaste Marjan. And that was Gurudev's response. Like, yes, you're seeing in the right way. This is that same type of seva. So Lokanath Goswami notices every day when he goes to that place, suddenly it's like paka, it's perfectly cleaned, manicured. It's, like what they would sometimes call in Bengal, a paka latrine. Like it's really nice. And that seems odd to him. Then he notices every day it's like that. And then he starts to inquire, what's happening? Who's doing this? And they say, there's this one boy, like teenage boy. He every day comes there. And this is his seva. And he's doing. And then Lokanath Goswami can understand what type of boy this is. He just wants to meet with you. He has some request. Then he meets with, and when he sees, Narottam Thakur was also very beautiful, so beautiful looking and charming, and just a festival for the eyes, his divine form. So Lokanath Goswami accepts him as his disciple. And as Guru Maharaj said, so that how do we see the Vaishnavas? We favor the Gosyanandis who are approachable, who you can talk to, but the Bhajananandis, how do we see them? He's saying, Lokanath Goswami, one disciple, Narottam Thakur. And Narottam Thakur had 100,000 disciples. He converted the state of Manipur and so many others, right? So you think, well, what was the value of Lokanath Goswami? As I said to Guru Maharaj foolishly, I said, what was the contribution of Gorkishore Das Babaji Maharaj? And Guru Maharaj said, the contribution of Gorkishore Das Babaji Maharaj? Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. I went, oh, right. Like, that's his contribution to the line. So Narottam, 100,000, and his team, Narottam, Srinivasacharya, and Rasikananda Prabhu, pardon me? Oh, excuse me, Shyamananda Pandit. The 3 of them, they inherit all the treasure of the Goswamis, particularly the books Srinivasacharya caring for. But Narottam Thakur, if you look at our songbook, it's really, we're in the Bhakti Vinod Paribar. Bhakti Vinod Thakur is the leader of our group, ultimately. But Bhakti Vinod considers himself in the Narottam Paribar. So so that, if you look at our songbook, you'll see almost every song is either a Bhaktivinoda Thakur song or a Narottam Thakur song. We have some from Srila Guru Maharaj, Srila Gurudev, and Lochan DasThakur, and here and there. But really, it's either Bhaktivinoda Thakur or Narottam DasThakur. And Guru Maharaj points out that the songs of Bhaktivinoda Thakur, primarily for the practitioners, like Gurudev, Kripa Bindu Diya, and songs like this that are, and Amar Jivana, confessional poetry about what is our psychological interior. You know, Amar Jivana means my life. This is my life. I'm envious, I'm lazy, I'm jealous, I'm lusty. We don't take it to Bhaktivinoda Thakur in that way, but he's articulating what we may not be able to express properly. But he has another section of songs, a relatively smaller section, for the Siddha plane, right? The Ami Swananda Sukhada Kunda Basi, I am a resident of Swananda, those type of songs, which are only, and you know, the Radhastakam, his Shikshastakam, these things very carefully, once a year, Radhastami, or sometimes during this month, they will be sung, and not even all of them, according to Srila Guru Maharaj. But Narottam Thakur, the inverse, has so many songs for the Siddha plane, and then some other songs for the aspiring practitioners. But even those songs that we sing, you know, Hari Harai Nama Krishna, you know, what do you call it? Nitai Pada Kamala, singing the glories of Nityananda Prabhu. But the anthem of the Gaudiya Vaishnavas, you say, like the most important song, right? Because this is the Rupa Nuga line, is Sri-Rupa-Manjari-pada, his song and praise of the lotus feet of Srila Rupa Goswami. And I just like to read some of that from Srila Guru Maharaj, because I can try and represent it, but I think in this instance, it's best to hear, as far as possible, the words spoken when Srila Guru Maharaj himself is explaining what it means. And we know that he's the qualified person, because and when it comes time for the Acharya has left the world, and his divine form will be anointed, and there's some question about what is written over the heart of Sri Guru. And I had a discussion, and in regard to Srila Gurudev as well, with this one sannyasi. And he said, because we know sannyas is about gopi bhav. Right? So he was suggesting that that's it. You know, you should write the sannyas mantra. That should be written there. And I said, oh, I think you have answered the question, but it won't be that. We won't write the sannyas, but you've answered the question. It is about gopi bhav, which is an aspiration of Radha Dasyam, but to be more specific, which gopi? Right? There are many gopis. Which gopi? And if you're aspiring Radha, you know, like Rupa Raghunatha Padeja. Why Rupa Raghunath? Well, he got everything in Charitamritam from Raghunath. I thought, why not Rup Sanatan? He goes, Rupa Raghunath. But so the answer to which gopi? Sri-Rupa-Manjari-pada. That's what we shall write. Sri-Rupa-Manjari-pada, over the heart of the divine form of Srila Gurudev as he is entering that plane. So before Saraswati Thakur, you know, in his final days, actually, he was in Puri first, and last 3 months, and he was hearing like Astakaliya Leela type songs that Guru Maharaj would forbid us to, you know, but in his final days, because now he is withdrawn from this plane, exclusively focused on that world. And the singer was Srila Bhakti Bichar Yajavar Maharaj. He was singing these songs. And he would sing Sri-Rupa-Manjari-pada every day also. So we know actually Saraswati Thakur left the world in Kolkata and was transferred to Mayapur, Navadvip. But so think, Yajavar singing, Maharaj singing every day, and Saraswati Thakur happily hearing that. And Yajavar Maharaj loves Guru Maharaj so much. They have a very sweet relationship. But in the last 24 hours, when Srila Saraswati Thakur is preparing to leave this world, and Guru Maharaj wrote in his poetry, why we talk about the separation, devotees, Guru Maharaj says, Srimati Radharani was experiencing deep separation from her beloved Dvaitadas Nayana Mani Manjari, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. Radharani could not tolerate being separated from her for another moment and took her up. That's unique. Who can say such things? Who has the insight to reveal these things? Think about it. Srila Bhakti Om Vishnupad Srila Bhakti Raksak Sridhar Dev Goswami Maharaj. So that Saraswati Thakur, although so many other things are going on up to this point, then he called Srila Guru. All the devotees are there. They know the time has come. Prabhupada Saraswati Thakur is going to leave the world. He's given his final instructions. So many, and then he calls Srila Guru Maharaj to sing Sri-Rupa-Manjari-pada. That's how important this song is. And Guru Maharaj, we know he always referred to himself as a back-pushing man. When I showed him this picture I found from Madas Gaudiya Math, Guru Maharaj is in the back row, and he goes, back-pushing man, always staying in the background and hesitating to come forward, similar to when Mahaprabhu wants to introduce Rupa Goswami to the devotees and confer his line to him. Rupa Goswami is hesitating, and really it's Ramananda and the others are pushing him to the front. So seeing his hesitation, Srila Bhakti Bilas Tirtha Maharaj turned to Srila Bhakti Pramod Puri Maharaj and invited Puri Maharaj as an expert Kirtaniya, a beautiful, wonderful singer. And Tirtha Maharaj thought, then Sridhar Maharaj is hesitating, Puri Maharaj, you sing. Then Srila Puri Maharaj starts singing. And we must say, a credit to his humility, that he tells this story and say, but then Prabhupada stopped me and said, I don't want to hear the sweet tune. He said, I want to hear this only from the lips of Srila Sridhar Maharaj. In other words, he wanted a particular quality of heart, right? Of realization, of depth, of feeling. Someone who could sing this with feeling, the Rupa Nuga Dhara, that the current of Rupa Goswami is flowing in him. That flow. He's recognizing that, and he's saying, this person, and Puri Maharaj and the others say, what we witnessed was a mystic power transmission of the Rupa Nuga line from Srila Saraswati Thakur to Srila Sridhar Maharaj, right? And Guru Maharaj, when he would have to deal with this, when I innocently said, what does Rupa Nuga Dhara mean? Guru Maharaj like, he said, it means one who's, carrying the current of Rupa Goswami, right? And he said, my godbrothers say at that moment that I was given entrance into the group of Sri-Rupa-Manjari. He said, He said, but I rather like to think I was posted at the gate, like Rakuk, the gatekeeper. He said, to say who will enter and who will not, because we're all like leaning forward, you know. And Guru Maharaj said, and I'm not allowing anyone and everyone. Right? Someone he allowed is known as Om Vishnupad Srila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj. Right? But when Guru Maharaj said that, and I have to add this, that I can say that because Guru Maharaj said that, but Srila Gurudev would not, he would like that up to a point, but he would say, no, Guru Maharaj is not gatekeeper, he's inside. He would argue with Guru Maharaj, you're not gate, you're inside. But Guru Maharaj, no, you know, that's a sweet argument. Because Guru Maharaj has to say humbly at the gate, and Guru Maharaj said, no, Maharaj, you are inside. So, and we will accept that in both ways. So Saraswati Thakur, and where did he give this endorsement of Srila Guru Maharaj? When in his lifetime, he saw the Bhakti Vinod Dasakam, right? Viraha, Dasakam, yeah. So it's lying in front of him written. Maybe it's going to be published in a Gaudiya Math. And he would go through the press and look at the different articles that are being submitted. And then he starts reading this. And put this one line in particular, Sri Gauranumatam Sri-Rupa Viditam Rupa, revealing what the gift of Bhakti Vinod Thakur is in the world. And he's saying, who wrote this? And Goswami Maharaj or one of the others says, Sridhar Maharaj. And Saraswati Thakur, no, Sridhar Maharaj didn't write this. He said, Bhakti Vinod Thakur has written this through him. And now I'm preparing to leave the world, but now I'm satisfied. What I came to give, one man received it. And he will remain behind to represent me fully. Right? Accurately, fully, you know, a full representation. And Guru Maharaj, the God brothers would say, hearing from Guru Maharaj is tantamount to hearing from Srila Saraswati Thakur. And what was expressed there, that he's saying, what is the gift of Bhakti Vinod Thakur to the world? In a phrase from Srila Prabhupada, we could say Krishna consciousness, and that would be accurate. But what, and that's what Prabhupada distributed all over the world, right? But what more specifically is Krishna consciousness, right? And he said, Sri Gauranumatam, Swarupa Viditam, the internal reason for Mahaprabhu's descent into this world. He wants to distribute something, right? He's come here to give something, right? But what it really is, through the medium, he'll chant the holy name for the, and attract everyone thereby and bring them into this divine mandal, circle. Right? But he's come to give something, to distribute something. He has a gift that he wants to give everybody. And he's saying, but that's only known to Srup Damodar, as we told. There's only a few who are in that position to really, and he has this unique, he's incomparable. Rupa Goswami says, Swarupa, what do you say? That anyway, in his verse, and the Chaitanyastakam, right? Atulyam, Swarupa-Matulyam, Jagatatulyam. The incomparable position of Srup Damodar. So he's saying it's only really known to him, but that means also his line. We are Swarup Anugas. We are Rupanugas, but we are Swarup Anugas. Right? And it's saying, and that very thing is worshipped by Sanatana Goswami Prabhu, whom we will get the darshan of later and hear his contributions. And it's saying, and Rupa and his followers, they're extending it and revealing what it is truly to others. And Raghunath Das, he's relishing that. And his follower, who's his follower? Krishna Das Kaviraj Goswami. right? Raghu Ganai, then he says, Jiva de Abhirakshitam, and Jiva Goswami, Baladev Vidyabhushan, like protectors. They're protecting this divine thing from imitation, modification, adulteration, from those who would challenge its legitimacy or authenticity. That's their seva, with so much shastric support. Right? Jiva Deva Raksha, Sukha, Shiva, Brahma, and Uddhava, Guru Maharaj added later. They all want a drop of this divine substance, as we heard at Uddhava, Asamaho Charanari, I want, an atomic presence in that plane. So after all of this, then you say, well, what is it? Right? You think, Sri Radha Padasevanamritam, the service, the nectarine service of the holy lotus feet of Srimati Radharani, saying, Aho, Sri Radha Padasevanam, right? Gayatri Muralista Kirtanandanam Radha Padam Dimai, Krishna's fluting about what? The service of the holy lotus feet of Radharani. And then Guru said, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, this is your gift to the world. And that's the verse that Saraswati Thakur went, yes. Who wrote this? Sridhar went, no, Bhaktivinoda wrote it through him. Now I'm satisfied. What I came to give, someone got it. Right? They say as rare as it is to find a qualified guru, it's equally, if not more rare, to find a qualified disciple, receptacle, who can receive that wealth. So then Sarah says, yes, all right. And then further certification, when he's leaving the world, to hear this song, Sri-Rupa-Manjari-pada, from the lotus lips of Srila Bhakti Raksak Sridhar Dev Goswami Maharaj. So Guru Maharaj says here, here we find, though Narottam got his initiation from Lokanath Goswami Prabhu, his only disciple, but he spread the seed all over the land. And another peculiarity we find in Narottam, who is so scrupulous in his attitude, his devotion towards his guru, Lokanath, whose favor he earned with a high price, but he was not a blind follower. We see that eliminating even Jiva Goswami, Gopal Bhatta, he surrendered to Lokanath. So not Rupa and Sanatan. Let the record stand corrected. And got his grace, but still he was not a blind follower. How? He'd gone through the scriptures of Rupa Goswami, etc. He understood Mahaprabhu and his structure of the disciple, the hierarchy of disciples that we said, Rupa Raghunatha Pade, Radha and Krishna. As I once said to Guru Maharaj, thinking out loud, I said, a third position. And Guru Maharaj, without me saying anything, he went fifth. And you go like, what are you talking about? I was thinking, what's the highest attainment possible for a jiva soul? So I said third, but Guru said fifth. I went, because I wasn't counting Radha and Krishna, So I meant, so that's 1 and 2, Then 3, Lalita Vishaka, Sakis. 4, Manjaris, Rupa, Rati, etc. So fifth means they're the assistant of the assistants. Right? So he's saying that's what he means about talking about the hierarchy. So Narottam knows that Sri Rupa is the leader of all the assistants. So what does he say? Is he abandoning his guru, or doesn't need him anymore, or has surpassed him? No, very beautifully, he says, when will Lokanath Goswami take me by the hand and offer me to Sri Rupa? So very nice, like he's remembering his guru and saying, when he considers that time has come, he'll take me to the lotus feet of Sri Rupa. So he said, And he said, Sri-Rupa-Manjari-pada, sung by him, Narottam Thakur, say more Sampada, say more Bhajana Pujan. My everything is Rupa Goswami's holy feet, everything. We're to discuss so many comparisons, classifications, and gradation, the position of rasa, shantarasa, dasya, sakya, vatsalya, madhurya. And in madhurya, Radharani's camp, special. And then again, there's so many sakis, nitya saki, prana saki, so many gradations. Then there's the class of the manjari, younger in age, and they've got more freedom to approach when Radha and Govinda are in private union. The manjari can approach there. They've got freedom to go visit them. If any material service is necessary, the sakis send these manjaris to that place. The sakis do not approach there. So in that way, the manjari enjoys the best confidence. The most sacred service of both can be supplied through the manjari. Their entrance is free admission into the highest position. So, and their leader is Rupa Manjari. In girl position, she's supposed to be the leader of the whole group of manjaris. So in Madhurya Bhajan, she's all in all, Rupa Manjari. And Narottam Thakur, he teaches this about her position, that she is all in all. We younger batch, for us, she's our highest resort. So Sri-Rupa-Manjari-pada, say more sampada, say more bhajana pujan, say more pranadan, say more sampada. My wealth is there in her feet. Sri-Rupa-Manjari-pada, say more sampana, bhajana pujan. My worship and service, that is also in her. Sri-Rupa-Manjari-pada, say more sampada, say more bhajana pujan, say more pranadan, say more abharan. The very wealth of my life, the gist of my life is there, abharan, the ornaments of my life. And what if there is anything that is also within her grace? Say more jivana, jivaner jivan, the very life of my life. If there is anything, that is also she, at her pleasure, jivaner jivan. Say more rasaniti. And what I want to say here too is you say, well, this is so high. Of course it is. You know, like Krishna, understand, Krishna consciousness is the highest thing. So of course it's very high. And this is very high within the very highest thing. When you say, how does this relate to us? Srila Guru, everything being expressed here, that's Srila Gurudev's focus on Guru Maharaj. The service of his holy, that's my wealth, that's my bhajan, that's my pujan, that's my life, my everything. I serve the lotus feet of Guru Maharaj. He's taking the name of Krishna, singing Prema Dhamma Stotram, subjective evolution, golden, doing all. I serve his lotus feet. I wash his cloth if necessary. And I take all the responsibility for the service of the mat on my head and the accompanying anxiety, so that Guru Maharaj can be worry-free and that upper world mining the spiritual substance that we will distribute to everyone. So that singular focus that Narottam Thakur has upon the lotus feet of Sri-Rupa-Manjari, Srila Bhakti Sundar Govindadev Goswami Maharaj has that singular focus upon the lotus feet of Srila Bhakti Raksak Sridhar Dev Goswami. That's how it applies. Say more rasaniti. If there is anything, the source of all desirable ecstasy, it is only there located. Rasaniti means an ocean of rasa. The mind, the source of all rasa, the fountainhead of all rasa is there in her feet. That's how the connection comes. Then, yes. Say more bancha siddhi. If there are any other fulfillments of life, I expect, also there. Imagine, he's going through every possible scenario and saying, where is it? At the feet of Rupa Manjari. So what will be your conclusion? How that Rupa Manjari is everything. That's why this is the Rupa Nuga line. It's not just, the first person and then after, no, it's going the other direction. Right, toward the service. So So Radha Dasyam, but under whose guidance shall that be? Sri Chaitanya Saraswati Mat, Pranam Mantra. Sri Rupanuga Kritimati Guru Gauranga Radha Jitasha. That Radha Jitasha, Guru Radha Jitasha is Radha Krishna Jitasha. That aspiration is Sri Rupanuga Kritimati Guru, right? That's the Rupanuga line. That's how it comes down. Then he says, bunches say more Vedera Dharma. If any duty recommended by the Vedas for me, it is in her feet. Right? Say vrata, say tapa, any accumulation of desired of any penance, vow, observance of any vow is also there. Say more mantra japa, and the continued repetition of mantra japa is also there. So I remember in the beginning used to think like, oh, okay, so we're chanting the mantra and the japa and thinking of this. But we learn by observing the service attitude of Srila Gurudev, what is being said here, because like when Guru Maharaj said of that Acharya said, or Brahma, you know, I don't have time for my mantra and japa. I'm so overwhelmed with seva. And he said, I supported that, right? That's why you're chanting. So another way to put this is to say, the service of your holy lotus feet, that is my mantra, that is my japa. Right? It's not to be saying like, oh, Prabhu, we need you to do this service. Oh, I'm chanting my rounds. I can't do that right now. That's the opposite idea. We go towards the seva. That seva is the mantra, the japa, the vrata, the tapa. It's all inclusive. Then he says, mantra japa, all ending there. All things have got one end in my case. And that is they all meet in the phases to the feet of Rupa-Manjari. If she satisfied, all sorts of variegated nature of devotional practices are satisfied. Beautiful. If she's satisfied, then you get everything. What is that? In the Bhagavatam, there's this list of all these things that, you know, hopeful achievements and time. And when you read that list, you go, oh my God, this is never going to happen. Lifetimes and lifetimes and you know, like, oh, it's looking hopeless here. And then the very last word says, however, etat sarvam guru bhaktya purusho hyanjasoje. But by service to the lotus feet of Guru, you get everything. And you go, oh, right? That's what he's saying here. Again, we hear Rupa-Manjari, the ultimate target. Who's the local delegated representative of Rupa-Manjari? Our Gurudev. That's our connection. It's all equally applicable. And it's demonstrated and personified in the unparalleled devotional attitude of Srila Bhakti Sundar Govindadev Goswami Maharaj towards Srila Guru Maharaj. Guru Maharaj says, Ashishu Sambhushitam, the Guru Ganai. The God, not only Guru Maharaj is pleased with him and blessing him, but his God brothers. So one such God brother, Bhakti Doita Madhav Maharaj, is always praising Srila Govinda Maharaj. And one of his disciples didn't like it. You know, he was envious, and he said, like, to his guru, he's going like, why are you always praising Govinda Maharaj? He has done so much wrong, you know. And Madhava Maharaj said to him, he goes, when you see that type of devotion to his guru, he said, I must give praise or some fault will come to me. It's not an option not to praise. I must praise him when you see this type of pure devotion, right? So then he says, say more, and remember, he's saying everything is that service. Say more dharma and that, then anukula habi vidhi sepade hoibi siddhi. I only pray. Who is at the root of all these arrangements of affairs in the world? I pray to him. Please connect me there. Anukula habe vidhi sepade hoibe siddhi. The absolute manager may grant my prayer that all my tendencies may go to attain her favor. And it will be so much intense and concrete. Nirakibo e dvinayane, as if I can see these with my eyes, not vague, not abstract, not imagination, but the most concrete realization. I want the grace, but grace of the all management. Then Sri-Rupa-Manjari-pada prana kubalaya shashi. What beauty, what sort of high-class beauty is there in her holy feet? I want to be charmed. Say Rup Rasi, Madhuri Rasi prana kubalaya shashi. If my heart be a lotus, and the lotus, kuvalaya, 2 classes, red lotus, white lotus straight from the sun, red lotus from the moon. The kuvalaya is a mixture, and day and night, the luster of her body will feed me day and night, the life of my life. It is compared with a lotus, kuvalaya, and kuvalaya is fed, is nourished by the luster of the moon, and her feet are the moon, and her holy feet are the moon, and my very vitality is the lotus compared. Prana kuvalaya, say Rup Madhuri Rasi, the beauty, luster of her beauty may maintain, may nourish my heart of hearts. Prana kuvalaya shashi, prafulito habe nisidine, and the lotus of my heart will grow by that ray and dance. Tua adarshana ahi. This is my prayer. But what is my present condition? My present condition in the negative side, my mistress, present position is such that without having a sight of you, your grace, my heart is burning, going to burn into ashes. That is my position. Tua adarshana ahi, garale jarala dehi. This is just like the poison of cobra poison. Poison produces some sort of pain, bitter pain into my heart, as it is bitten, as if it is bitten by a snake. And what is that snake? That I won't get direct contact with you. Your grace, the serpent poison has captured my heart, and I'm going to die. Chirodin topital jivan. And this is not a sudden thing. For a long, long time from the beginning, I'm suffering from this sort of pain of separation from such a beautiful and hopeful life of fulfillment. Topito jivan, haha prabhu kora doya, deho more parachaya, narottam loyalo sharan. But I'm now reached in the extreme position. From the last time, I'm begging for your favor. Otherwise, I'm going to be finished. This is written by Narottam Thakur, praising Srila Rupa Goswami, the Rupa Nuga Sampradaya. This Sampradaya is named Rupa Nuga Sampradaya, our Guru Parampara, all these things adjusted according to that. And another instance also we find, thinking of the future bright days he's entered in Vrindavan, going to get the service of Radha and Krishna under the direction of Rupa Goswami. Such a position has come, has dawned. That day has finally dawned. Hare Krishna. And so for there, Hare Krishna. Jai Srila Narottam Thakur, Tirobab Mahamahotsavatiti Ki Jai. And I think we shall now sing Ye Anilo Prema Dana. I think we're going to stay here for tomorrow and glorify Vishwanath Chakrabarti Thakur and the deity, I think tomorrow for those things, correct? Yes. So
yes, Maharaj, that's wonderful, very suitable.
Yes. So we get to stay longer. Yeah.
Really, this kind of parakram, we have like much less limits. It's a much broader possibilities, Maharaj. So this is wonderful for us all.
It's kind of amazing in that way. So then,
and with so many devotees, Maharaj, from all over.
Yes.
And we're appreciating them one by one, as well as, I mean, everybody together.
Yes. Yes, Maharaj. Jayanilo prema dana koruna prachu Heno Prabhu Kota Gela Acharya Thakur Kaha Mora Swarup Rupa Kaha Sanatan Kaha Dasa Raghunata Patita Pavan Kamora Bhata Juga Kakavira Veka Kale Kota Gela Gora Natara Kahamod. What was that? Where did they end? Gora Natara. Pasane Kuti Bo Mata Anale Pasibo Ibo Mata Goranga Gunera Nidhi Kota Gele Pabo Se Saba Sangira Sange Deko Elo Vilas Se Sangana Paya Kande Narottam Anilo Prema Dhana Koruna Pratu Veno Prabhu Kota Gela Acharya Thakur Hari Haraya Nama Krishna Yadavaya Namaha Hari Haraya Nama Krishna Yadavaya Namaha Yadavaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Namaha Gopal Govinda Ramji Madhusudan Giridhari Gopinath Madana Mohan Radha Radha Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jai Rupa Sanatan Bhakta Raghunath Sri Jiva Gopala Bhakta Dasa Raghunath Jai Go Jai Gori Charana Bandhan Jaha Hoite Vignanas Abhishta Puran Jai Go Jai Dharmi Darodas Pansavada Padarenu Moda Pansakan Chandara Charana Sevi Bhakta Sanevan Janame Mori Abhiram Jai Go Jai Jabe Braje Koi Lavan Radha Krishna Nitya Lila Koi Lo Prakash Anande Bolo Hari Bhaja Vrindavan Sri Guru Vaishnava Pade Majai Aman Sri Guru Vaishnava Pad Padma Koriya Hari Nam Sankirtan Kohe Narottam DasThakur Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Gaur Hari Bol. Nitya Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Gaur Hari Bol. Go Premanande, Srila Narottam Thakur, Tirobab Mahamahotsavatiti Ki.
Jai Shri Bhakti Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Shri Bhakti Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Shri Bhakti Raksak Sridhar Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Shri Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Ki Jai. Shri Guru Kishore Maharaj Ki Jai. Shri Bhakti Thakur Ki Jai. Shri Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai. Sri-Rupa-Manjari-pada Ki Jai. Shri Narottam DasThakur Ki Jai. Shri Raja Leela Parikrama Ki Jai. Shri Madhusudan Maharaj Ki Jai. Acharya Vrinda Ki Jai. Bhakti Vrinda Ki Jai. Shri Vrindavan Dham Virtual Parikrama Ki Jai. Conscious Parikrama Ki, not virtual. Bhakti Vrinda Ki Jai, all the devotees Ki Jai, Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai, Paramananda Prabhu Ki Jai, Shrimati Bhakti Lalita Ki Jai, all the servant crew Ki Jai, Bhajanga players, Kal Prabhu Ki Jai, Bhakti Vrinda Ki Jai, sound production, internet production Ki Jai, Hold
And
the
Sri
great.
Chaitanya Saraswati Acharya Vrinda ki jai.
Jai.
Jai Srila Bhakti Nirmala Acharya Maharaj ki jai.
Jai.
Jai Srila Bhakti Pavan Janardhan Maharaj ki jai.
Jai.
Jai Srila Bhakti Kusum Ashram Maharaj ki jai. Jai Srila Bhakti Vijay Trivikram Maharaj ki jai. Sannyasi Vrinda ki jai. Seva Vrinda ki jai.
Jai.
Jai Srila Bhakti Vimal Avadut Maharaj ki jai. Krishna Priya Deity ki jai. Bhakti Ravita Deity ki jai. And all the world Vaishnavas, Maharaj, bring that mic over and we can say something to all the devotees. Hare Krishna. And we see there is Pandita Dasi Hare Krishna. And the Suresh Krishna Prabhu is there, but also Didi. Other devotees come to help identify. Anindita, Jaya Shekhar, Dhananjaya Prabhu and Chaitanya Moyi, and Rome, Praneshri Devi, Rupa Vilas Prabhu, and of course the Russian translator, Nityananda Das, Sulakshana in Chinese. Oh, that's where she is. Hare Krishna. And Dayavati, Devidasi, Dandavat Prem Narayan Prabhu. He looks like he's inside a submarine. I think it's a boat. Yeah. And then and Siberia, and Janvi, Devi, and Hastinapur, and Ravindra Krishna Prabhu, Sri Hari Das, who's in Brazil, I believe. Yes. Odarja Leela, Iravati in Moscow, Trilokanath Prabhu. And Nityananda Ram Prabhu in Colombia, and there's Sushmita, Devidasi in China, Dandavat Didi, and Purushottam Prabhu, and Sri Lanka, Didi, Supriya, Dandavat in China. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Dandavat. And really want to say to all the devotees, you are Sri Chaitanya Saraswati Mat. We're designated preachers, but actually all of you are representing Srila Guru Maharaj and Srila Gurudev all around the world. And we would be nothing without all the devotees who allow us to humbly to preach to them and represent the teachings of our Guru Varga. And I say Brajamohini, the screen before, Madhavi, yeah. There's Brajamohini Jai, and Saraswati and Lakta Vijayanti, yes, Vijay Krishna Prabhu in London, Indumukhi. Stand by, keep waiting. I'm going to call on you to share some of your experience. Mahamantra Prabhu, Hare Krishna. Ajita Krishna, no parikrama we have is complete without him. Subhashini Didi, Hare Krishna. Subhashini, yes. She was always on the veranda of Srila Gurudev, giving great delight to his divine grace. Nirupama Devidasi, her nose is permanently squinting. Right. It's amazing how she does that. Hare Krishna. Kamalini, Hare Krishna. Yes. And we see Chandra, maybe it was Chandrakanti, and Lalita, what does that say, Tamara? And Ishanuga, and others. All right. Could be. Yes. Hare Krishna. And who is here? Whoops. No.
That's Jamuna Priya.
Oh, okay. Yes. All right. Vanchakalpa Tribhyascha Kripa Sindhu Vevacha Patitanam Pavanevyo Vaishnavevyo Namo Namaha. Hare Krishna.
Tomorrow.
Yes. Dhanyavad everybody.
There is a camera, Maharaj.
Where's the camera? Oh, there's a camera, Maharaj. There's the camera. Joy.